New video. We're gonna try something different this time. Do a midweek video. And so for this one, I think Rachel wanted to talk a little bit about our transitions to Whole30. Not necessarily my transition to paleo, because that happened in 2011.
Well,
So
no, we can talk about that too because
um,
this is my first real transition into it.
yeah, this is her first real transition into paleo. I did paleo in 2011 to lose weight, and then we're getting more strict for me back in the more paleo than I used to be from us being together. But anyway, I guess Rachel can go first since it's her first shot at it.
Sure. Um, I have actively resisted doing this for the better part of 2 years. That's about how long I've known Steve. And I, if you hear craziness, that's because our dogs are fighting. So, I am that person that tried every fad diet. I tried every, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, all that kind of stuff. And you lose the weight and you gain it back. And the whole lifestyle change thing never really clicked for me. I started lifting, it'll be 2 years ago in February. And even when that started, I was supplementing, but I wasn't eating right. Right before I met Steve, or Steve and I started talking because we had met before and we didn't like each other, which is funny. But before I really started talking to Steve, I had started meal planning and meal prepping. But I was still cheating and I wasn't following macros. I moved here, and once we got together, my diet got better. And we have kind of hit the point as individuals in our own programming where diet is that missing component now. That in order for performance to continue tracking up, my diet needs to be cleaner and more focused. And I want what I want, so I have to do this. I am not a huge fan of the first week of Whole30. It was pretty rough. Um, I still have tea to settle my stomach because I still get queasy from time to time, which they say is normal, takes about 14 days. So for me though, I feel better. I feel like I'm not going from being okay to being starving, and I feel like the food that I'm eating is processing better. And what I mean by that is, we'll just be real frank. I poop normally now. What? Like, if you are a girl who's in fitness and subsided on like oatmeal, yogurt, and fruit, you know what I'm talking about. Because if you pooped every other day, you were doing okay. But like, I'm talking about the hard topics now. But I will admit that I have had a struggle with the transition. I've been sick. I've had the brain fog, but coming out of the other side of it now, I'm glad that I've gone through it. But I did get the paleo flu, and it's a bitch.
Me. So I went paleo 2011, and when I did, I was fat, and so I had a kind of a range of things in my transition because I was losing weight, and so I would get better, and then I would hit pockets um, of fat that when they talk to you about weight loss, because they'll tell you as you're losing weight that sometimes you'll have various stuff that's fat soluble, and your body
Mm-hmm.
will store it in your fat layer, and so you'll be feeling great, and then you'll hit that layer or that pocket of whatever it is in your fat loss, and then you'll feel like crap because it was a fat soluble whatever that your body stored along with the fat when you were eating that way. So I had those issues, came and went, and then sorry, came and went. And as I moved on from there, I then stayed strict paleo from 2011 all the way up until 2014 when I had some Army stuff come into my life. And if you can imagine it, the Army does not necessarily cater to your dietary whims. When you are on orders and you are eating in a dining facility, they make what they make, and so you kind of make the choices that you can. So there, I and kind of broke my super strict never cheat paleo chain. Oh,
Your
sorry guys.
struggle is real.
Yeah, my struggle's real tonight. Anyway, so broke that paleo chain, and then from there I stayed paleo for the most part, but I would have things here and there that would not fall into necessarily the paleo guidelines, um, but kind of paleo primal and kind of paleo 2.0, and all these buzzwords that get kind of thrown around and used. Basically, I ate paleo, but with cheats thrown in, with the understanding that from time to time, being National Guard, every month I had to go to drill. I really did not want to have to carry all my own food to every single drill. And then, in case something happened and I had to go anywhere, got deployed or whatever, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pack a year's worth of food to take with me. So I was going to have some tolerance in my system to be able to eat this stuff. So I wouldn't go out and eat sandwiches, but I ate corn chips, I ate rice. I would have tacos with corn tortillas, and then from time to time I would eat things like I would have some pizza or I would have something else that had wheat flour in it, just so that I had a baseline in my body, so that if I went on orders and I had to go somewhere, that I wasn't just completely sidelined with stomach issues because I was trying to adjust to eating a diet with a bunch of gluten in it, as well as having to make sure that I was taking care of my battle buddies and taking care of what was going on that way and wherever we were. Thankfully, I didn't have to deploy in the last couple of years, but you know, still, you have to make sure that you're ready to do it. And then Rachel and I got together, and Rachel loves the high carb life, and so my intake changed a little bit too, in the sense that we ate things that she liked, um, and so so peanut butter came in, and some other things, and so I kind of was she can't eat gluten, so we stay gluten free, but it was less than paleo. There's cheese in my diet, and a couple other things, and so I carried probably an extra 15 pounds from that I didn't actually used to carry.
It's like wedding weight.
But but still, I did okay, and I could take care of myself. And then with the decision to do this, I'm already seeing myself start to lean out, and I'm losing some of that fat and whatnot. My transition here has been less severe than hers. I've still felt, you can tell that I'm still kind of yawning. My energy level isn't quite as high. I'm eating probably half the carbs I used to eat before, and so my body is adjusting to having to use other sources of energy than me just eating carbs with every meal. And we've kind of restructured how we eat carbs when we eat carbs, and what carbs we eat. All of our carbs now, with the exception of some fruit, are much slower carbs, which means that your body's going to have to work a little bit harder to get to those. So that's that. My transition has been one of, I've just been a little tired, and then along with that, doing Whole30, not doing any supplementation. My recovery from workouts has been miserable. You kind of forget the role that your supplements play in you being able to bounce back from some of these really hard workouts that you might be doing, or long workouts that you might be doing, and they really are a big help. I'm still doing Epsom salt soaks. I'm resting. I have I have a complex, so I have a TENS unit, which helps. But just getting the BCAAs, taking creatine, and then getting that immediate post-workout protein with a little bit of carb to help your muscles kickstart the rebuilding really helps when you're going in and you're training hard every single day. And so you might be able to get 2, 3, maybe even 4 days training in a row, but then that fifth day, your body is just not caught up enough, and you really feel it. So we've had to kind of watch ourselves and be a little bit more mindful, and we've been trying to get a little bit extra sleep. But generally, a little bit of brain fog, a little bit of lethargy. It's gonna be what you're gonna have to deal with when you transition. In addition to, depending on what your diet was beforehand, maybe some digestive. They're not issues. It's just a little bit of discomfort, and kind of grumbliness, and just kind of like myself. I dealt with 2 or 3 days where I just wasn't hungry at all, and so you just kind of power through it. A week, maybe 2 weeks at the most, and then you'll be well on your way. So.
I just want to take a quick moment and talk about your attitude going into a diet change. Steve and I are polar opposites. There's a comic called The Awkward Yeti, and there's 2 characters that are the brain and the heart, and we are literally the brain and the heart. Like, Steve is all cerebral, and I am all feels. So when he decided that he was going to do his first Whole30, it was like, well, I'm going to do this because I can do anything for 30 days. So to him, no matter how hard it was going to be, it was going to get done because he decided he was going to do it. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, there's always an emergency plan. And that's kind of how I've lived my life up to now. And with dieting, that can't be the case. I hate saying this on video because it's forever. But in this instance, Steve's mindset is correct. That you want to go into this, that there is no turning back. When you're heading in, you're heading in. And if you're doing a Whole30, mind that if you have a slip, back to day 1. So even if you're at day 28 and you accidentally have some, wheat flour or sugar, back to day 1. So that makes it more challenging. If you're just transitioning to paleo, know that that's going to happen. Know that you're going to have some setbacks, and don't make it an option to go back to the way that you were eating. I have personally found that adopting that particular mindset changes things a lot, because then you're not like, oh, well, if I can't do it, I can't do it. That's not the case. You want to think about it as you're in it or you're not, and if you can't bring yourself to that level yet, don't start. Because if you fail in this way and you went through that detoxing period and you felt like shit, but then you quit, you're never going to come back because you did the nasty part without getting to the benefit. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You just gotta push right on through. Which I don't get her wanting to pull the ripcord thing.
Yeah, there's always a plan B. Always a plan B.
There's really not for this, so you just gotta keep going. So, all right, that's it for this one, and we'll see you guys next time.